Hello, Search here from the backyard driving range. Oh, we have a question that came in to customer service. This comes from Gordon R. Lilly. And Gordon says, Don, I am 74 years of age. I have a difficult time hitting my fairway woods. I have a custom fit set of hybrids. One day is great and the next day is a disaster. Can you help me? Thanks, Gordon. Okay, so let's first off, we got to define what's the difference between a fairway wood and a hybrid wood. All right, so let's start off with that. Okay, let me get I have a hybrid in here. It is a 18.5 degree hybrid. Okay, now I have a 5 wood. It is a 17.5. Okay, and then I have my 3 wood, Old Faithful, and it is a 15 degree 3 wood. Okay, now let's look at starting off what the difference with them is lengthwise. Let's first start with the hybrid. Hybrids were built to replace the long irons, so therefore on average they are usually considerably shorter than fairway woods. All right, 18.5 degrees, 17.5. But look at the difference in the length. There's at least 2 inches difference between this club and this club, but there's only 1 degree loft. But even though that 1 degree loft, this club is a minimum. My 5 wood's a minimum over 20 yards longer than this one, no matter how good I hit this one. Because, again, a shorter string, right? Rock on the end of a string, the more the length of the string you let out, the faster the rock goes. Well, this is a shorter string. It's actually, we know it's going to go a little bit shorter because of 1 degree, but not 20 yards for 1 degree. It's 1 degree plus all that difference in the length. You see the difference in the length there? About 1 inch. Now, 5 wood, which is 17.5, 15 degrees. 5 wood, 3 wood, it's about 1.5 inches longer. Okay, I hit this 3 wood at least 20 yards to 25 yards longer than this club, than the 5 wood, because of it's got less loft and it's got more length. Okay, so let's just start off again, getting back to the question. Gordon's question is he has difficulty hitting fairway woods. All right, it's for 2 reasons. They're longer and they have less loft than your hybrids. What really starts to happen is remember, the launch angle of the club off a club face, whatever the loft is, that launch angle has to have X amount of speed to get maximized when the ball strikes the head, that it launches at a good angle. If you're not generating enough club head speed, you will not get the launch that you need as far as the angle. And in many cases, if you don't get a high enough launch, you're not going to get enough air carry, which means your distance will have to come from on the ground, which isn't too bad if you're playing courses where the fairways are pretty hard, like Florida, Arizona, and things like that, where they don't get much rain, and the fairways stay hard. The composition of the ground is very hard. But you go up to places up north where you got good loam on the ground, and the fairway's a little bit longer, and they get a lot more rain, so the ground tends to stay moist. Balls hit, and they don't run much, so you're going to need more air carry. So our first priority is that you have to, the length of the club causes an issue in terms of being able to hit this ball solid enough, consistently enough, because of the extra length over the hybrids. Lastly, club head speed. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you this story. This is my 3 wood. Whoop, let me get the 3 wood. It's the only woods that have of all my woods, and I got numerous drivers and different 4 woods and 5 woods and everything else. But since I've been with Lynn Griffin, he's been fitting me. He's put all my shafts, all the shafts, the same shafts in all my fairway woods. And like I said, I probably got at least 6 or 8 drivers, 3 woods and 5 woods and stuff that he shafted for me, all with that olive green shaft. But this one has a blue and gray shaft. This was once, I got this about I think the first year DJ was on tour. I was looking in his trunk one day, and he had 3 of these driver heads in there, and I've always wanted one of these. So I just grabbed one, and I figured with 3 of them he wouldn't miss one. And then I went out, and naturally I can't use his clubs. They're way too long and they're way too stiff. So at the fitter I had at the time, I told him what I had, what I wanted in the shaft. He put it in, and I hit it, and it was perfect. But if you come and look at this, 3-wood, it has tons of tape all over, lead tape over here across the back nails. Why? Because when I cut about at least 2.5 to 3 inches off this club from where DJ had it, it loses a lot of weight. So I had to put some weight back on the head. All right, many times good fitters will put it down in the hosel to get the MOI closer to the, to have the weight in the hosel, which keeps the MOI closer to it. And but I put it all on the head, and this club has not changed since I fixed it, since I got it shafted and everything else. And this club has been like, probably, I think in all the tournaments I ever played, I've only hit one bad shot with it, and I still won that tournament. But this is like, I always called it my gold standard. Every fitter I went to, and the first time I went to Lynn, I said, Lynn, just figure out the load, the flex, everything with this club, and build everything to this one, because this is the gold standard. Well, the gold standard right now is starting to give Don, make me worried. It's not quite as solid gold as it used to be, off the ground on the fairway. So I've been talking to Doc off and on about it, and I'm saying, Doc, I think I need a weaker shaft. And Doc keeps saying, nah, the shaft is fine. He said, the shaft isn't enough of a bigger problem. He said, it's the loft. He said, you're not, since I've had my surgery and I don't have the strength in my upper body that I used to have, I'm losing club head speed, and I'm now 63 years old. He said, it's your club head speed, Don. You don't have enough loft. Because I said, I can tee this sucker up and hit it just as good as I used to on a tee. And I've had players, when I play with them in tournaments and stuff like that, and take this club out and start hitting, they said to me, why do you carry your driver? Because when I get this on a tee, especially if I got a downwind or somewhat helping in wind, and I launch this thing up in the air, it just goes forever. It'll go going higher downwind than I hit my driver off the tee. This goes even farther. So they say, what the heck you need a driver for? But off a tee, I still got it. But off the ground, I'm telling you right now, if I got a bunker to carry out there, or a water hazard or something to carry, and it's like 220, 215, 220, I might hesitate to pull this out, because I don't know, I'm not certain I can keep the ball in the air long enough anymore. So the thing I want to just emphasize here to Gordon is that I think it's two things very likely. The clubs are too long, and there's not enough loft. That's why I think I've talked to numerous fitters now of our fitters, and they're starting, they put a lot of high handicapper guys out there, and Gordon says he's 74 years old. They're starting them off in 12-degree drivers instead, which used to be what was known as a 2-wood. And way many years ago, people who couldn't hit drivers hit 2-woods. They didn't feel too bad because it was a 2-wood, not a 3-wood or whatever. And naturally, as a 2-wood, it was a heck of a lot bigger than a 3-wood. And so they're putting them into 12-degree drivers. And even some cases, some companies are making drivers 13 and 14 degrees, so that with those slower speeds, you launch the ball better. The ball stays and gets hit on a better launch angle, which goes farther. And in the correct launch angle, under good conditions, it'll land and roll out pretty good. So it's not just a case of the length, it's also a case of the loft. Length and loft. The two L's. And the Surge is having to face those realities too. I just can't, it's killing me to think that I might have to put this club up because I might not be able to hit it long enough off the ground. But then again, you know, I keep carrying it, and if I really got that problem, again, if I can hit it and there's nothing to carry and I could run out, no problem. So when I need more loft, I go to my 5-wood. I put this up in the air and it'll go. So the 3 will stay in the bag, but I have that reservation that I know if I need to put air under it and my ball's sitting on the ground, that's very difficult for me to do. I'm going to the 5-wood, unless I can hit a low bullet, and it'll run out crazy. But if it has to carry, that's an issue. So all of us that are getting older, it's not just the shaft. You got to look at the loft on your 3-woods. And in the end, hitting poor 3-woods or even 4-woods or 5-woods versus your hybrids, if you can hit them better, more solid, straight, more consistently, that might be the way to go. All right? Okay, well, that's it for the search today, talking about length and loft on your fairway woods to see if we can't correct these issues of many of us as we start to age and our swings slow down. We need more loft than anything to get the ball in the air, to hit better shots and shoot those lower scores. That's it for the search for today, and I'll be talking to y'all again soon.